Hello students, today we will discuss numericals based on chapter number 2, that is electrostatic potential and capacitance. So let's start it. Question number 1 is, why does the electric field inside a dielectric decrease when it is placed in an external electric field? We have already discussed this thing, that when a dielectric medium is placed in an external electric field, polarization will take place, and because of polarization an internal electric field will be created which will be opposite to the external electric field, and because of this what will happen, the resultant electric field get reduced. So what is the answer? The electric field inside a dielectric decrease when it is placed in an external electric field due to polarization, as it creates an internal electric field opposite to external electric field inside a dielectric, due to which net electric field gets reduced. Okay, next question is, what is the work done in moving a 2 microcoulomb point charge from corner A to corner B of a square ABCD when a 10 microcoulomb charge exists at the center of the square? Okay, now what is the equation? A square is there, ABCD is a square, at the center 10 microcoulomb charge is there, it is micro, by mistake it is written sigma. So what is the charge? The magnitude of the charge is 10 microcoulomb, which is placed at the center O of this square. Now the question is, if suppose 2 microcoulomb charge is there at this position at the vertex A, then what will be the work done in moving this charge from A to B? That we need to calculate. Okay, now you can easily see that this A and this B, they are at the same distance from the center O, and if they are at the same distance from the center O, what will happen? The potential at A will be equal to potential at B, and if the potential at A is equals to potential at B, there is no potential difference. It means what? The work done in moving a charge from A to B will be 0, because there is no potential difference, and we know this thing. So what is the answer? As VA is equals to VB, VA is potential at A, VB is potential at B. So since the potential at both the points is same, so therefore the work done will be 0. There will be no work done. So I think this question is also clear, that 0 work done will be there when you will move a charge from A to B, as they have equal potential. Okay, next question is, force of attraction between 2-point electric charges placed at a distance d in a medium is F. They are talking about 2-point charges. The distance between them is d, and the force is how much? F. What distance apart should these be kept in the same medium so that the force between them becomes F by 3? The question is very simple, that if the force become F by 3, what will be the value of d? What will be the value of the distance between them? So what we have considered, that let us suppose that Q1 and Q2 are the two charges and they are separated by distance d. Okay. Now we will apply what? Coulomb's law. So according to Coulomb's law, we can easily write F is equals to K Q1 Q2 upon d square. So this we have written in accordance with Coulomb's law. Now what is the condition given in the equation? That if force become F by 3, what will be the value of the distance? So what we have considered, let x be the new distance between the two charges. So now again we will apply Coulomb's law. So now in place of F, what we will write? F by 3, and in place of D we will write x square, because now we have considered what? That let x be the distance between the two charges. So I think this thing is clear. So that's why again in accordance with Coulomb's law we have written this. Okay, now from this equation we can replace the value of F in this particular equation. So in place of F, what we have written over here? K Q1 Q2 upon d square from this. Okay, so now we are here in this particular equation. Now you can clearly see that K and K will get cancelled, Q1 Q2 will get cancelled. So finally what we will have? X square is equals to 3d square. Now square will get cancelled. Then what will be the value of x? X will be equals to under root 3d. So which was an easy question. I hope this is clear. Now next question is, the distance of the field point on the equatorial plane of a small electric dipole is halved. They are talking about electric dipole and they are talking about equatorial position. By what factor will the electric field due to the dipole change? So the thing is that first of all we know this thing that whenever we talk about electric field intensity due to an electric dipole, we always say that E is inversely proportional to R cube. We know this thing. Now what they are saying that if the distance is reduced halved, if this R will become R by 2, what will be the impact on the electric field? This is the question. So now we know this thing, E is inversely proportional to R cube. So if distance is halved, it means what? R is now R by 2. So in place of R, what we can write? R by 2 ka whole cube. So when we will solve it, the cube of 2 will gives us what? 8. The 8 will go in numerator. So finally we'll have what? 8 is, E is inverse, directly proportional to 8 upon R cube. What does that mean? That electric field will become 8 times if the distance is halved. So again, it is an easy question and I hope this is clear. Next question is, okay, the plates of a charged capacitor are connected by a voltmeter. So they are talking about a capacitor connected by a voltmeter. If the plates of the capacitor are moved further apart, if the distance between the plates is increased, what will be the effect on the reading of the voltmeter? So what will be the changes in the reading of the voltmeter? That they just want to know by this question. So the thing is that they're talking about capacitance, they're talking about distance, and they're talking about V. So this is how we have to connect things. Now we know this thing, for a parallel plate capacitor, C is equals to A epsilon naught upon D, which we have already derived. Now we know this thing, A and epsilon naught, they are constant. So C is inversely proportional to D. Capacitance is inversely proportional to D. And what they are saying in the equation that the distance and is increased. The plates are moved further apart. It means what? D is increasing. So now if D is increasing and C is inversely proportional to D, so what does that mean? That if D increases, C will decrease. So that's what is written over here. If distance increases, capacitance will decrease. Okay, now, so capacitance will get reduced. Now we have to talk about V, because voltmeter gives us the reading of V, potential. Okay, so now we know this thing, V is equals to Q by C. We know this thing, V is equals to Q by C. So from here, now we know this thing that Q is constant for a capacitor. It means we can say that V is inversely proportional to C. So if V is inversely proportional to C, it means what? If capacitance decreases, the value of V will increase. So this is how we have connected things. One second. So that's why we can say that the reading of the voltmeter increases. So as you increase the distance between the plates of a capacitor, capacitance will decrease, but at the same time, the reading of the voltmeter will increase, because we know this thing, C and V, they are inversely proportional to each other. So I hope this question is also clear. Now, next question is, what happens to the capacitance of a capacitor when a dielectric slab is placed between its plates? Now we know this thing, that the capacitance increases when a dielectric slab is placed between the capacitor. So to increase the capacity, to increase the capacitance of a parallel plate capacitor, a dielectric slab is usually placed. So what will be the answer? The introduction of dielectric in a capacitor reduces the effective charge on plate and hence increases the capacitance. Next question is, the distance between the plates of a parallel plate capacitor is D. A metal plate of thickness D by 2 is placed between the plates. What will be the effect on the capacitance? Actually, they are talking about parallel plate capacitor, and between the plates they have placed a conductor whose thickness is how much? It means they are talking about T. T is how much? D by T. So what will be the effect on the capacitance? Actually, things are very, very simple. We know this thing that for a parallel plate capacitor, C is A epsilon naught upon D. Okay. Now here they are talking about a conductor whose thickness is how much? D by 2. Now we know this thing, when a conductor is placed in between the two plates, then what is the expression of the capacitance? It is epsilon naught A upon D minus T. That is the only change. For a parallel plate capacitor, when nothing is placed between the plates, what is the value of C? It is A epsilon naught upon D. But when a conductor is placed, what is the expression? Epsilon naught A upon D minus T. Now, what is the value of T? It is D by 2. So simply what we're going to do is, in place of T, what we will write? D by 2. So when we will write d by 2 and when we will solve it, so this 2 will go in numerator. So finally what we will have, 2 epsilon naught a upon d. And what is 2 epsilon naught a upon d? It is 2c0. What is c0? What is c0? c0 is the capacitance when nothing is placed between the plates. And so we can say that when a conductor is placed between the plates of a capacitor, it will become double. So that is the only answer, because the question was what will be the effect on the capacitance. So simply we have to talk about the capacitance. So finally what we can write, that the capacitance will get double when a conductor is placed between the two plates. I think this question is clear to everyone. Now next question is, okay, two dielectric slabs of dielectric constant K1 and K2 are filled in between the two plates, each of area A. Okay. So they are talking about a parallel plate capacitor and they are talking about two dielectric slabs and their dielectric constants are K1 and K2. And the area of these two plates is how much? A. Find the net capacitance of the capacitor. So we have to calculate the capacitance of the capacitor, and area of plate is given A. Now we know this thing. This is which type of combination? This is parallel combination. Okay, this is how the parallel combination, these two dielectric slabs they have. Now what is D? D is the distance between the two plates. Now we know this thing as these two capacitors are in parallel. So I think this is clear. Now we can consider them as two capacitors. One is having a dielectric slab whose dielectric constant is K1, and the other one is having another dielectric slab whose dielectric constant is how much? K2. Now they are having parallel combination. So for parallel combination, what will be the net capacitance? We know this thing, C is equals to C1 plus C2. So this is how we can calculate what net capacitance. So first we will talk about C1, then we will talk about C2. Now we know this thing that when a dielectric slab of dielectric constant K1 is placed between the two plates, what will be the expression? Simple expression, we know this thing, C is equals to epsilon naught A upon D. But when a dielectric slab is placed and if this type of combination we have, a parallel combination we have, then A becomes A by 2. So this will have how much area? A by 2, and this will also have how much area? A by 2. D will remain as it is. As it is, which type of combination? Parallel combination. So what will be C1? C1 will be K1 epsilon naught, and in place of A, what we will write? A by 2 upon D. Okay, and this 2 will go in denominator. So finally what expression we will have for C1? It will be K1 epsilon naught A upon 2D. Similarly we can easily write for C2. So what will be the only change? In place of K1 we will have K2 epsilon naught A upon 2D. So I think this is clear. Now in this equation we can substitute the value of C1 and we can substitute the value of C2. So the same thing we have done over here. So we can see that epsilon naught A upon 2D is common, so it can be taken out. So in bracket what we will have? K1 plus K2. So this will be the net capacitance of a capacitor between which two dielectric slabs are there whose dielectric constants are K1 and K2. So I think this question is also clear. So here things changes. It depends upon the combination. Here we are having parallel combination, and if suppose series combination, if they would have given, so in place of making changes in A, we would have made changes in D. That time D will become D by 2. Okay, so I think this question is clear. Okay, next question we have, if C1 is equals to 3 picofarad, C2 is equals to 2 picofarad, pico means 10 to the power minus 12. Calculate the equivalent capacitance of the given network between points A and B. So this is the circuit diagram which they have given us, and between these two points, point A and point B, we have to calculate the equivalent capacitance of these mini capacitors, and they are talking about only two values. C1 is having value 3 picofarad and C2 is having value how much? 2 picofarad. That only. Now if we talk about C1, C2 and C3, sorry, this is also C1. If we talk about these three capacitors, it is clearly visible they are in series. So first what we will do, we will calculate the equivalent capacitance of these three capacitors. Okay, now we know this thing in series combination, how we can calculate the net capacitance. It is 1 upon C is equals to 1 upon C1 plus 1 upon C2 plus 1 upon C3. After calculating the net capacitance of the series combination of these three capacitors, the net capacitance and the C2 they will be in parallel with each other. So then we will calculate the equivalent capacitance of these two capacitors. And how we can calculate? Again, we know this thing, how to calculate the net capacitance of a parallel combination, simply by adding them. So after calculating the net capacitance, that capacitance and these two capacitors, they will be in series combination with each other. So again, we will apply the formula of finding equivalent capacitance for a series combination. So this is how we will do it separately or in bifurcation. So first we are talking about, please pay attention, C1, C2 and C1, and they are in series. I think this is clear. So if they are in series, we know this thing, equivalent capacitance 1 upon C dash is equals to 1 upon C1 plus 1 upon C2 plus 1 upon C1 again. Now what is the value of C1? It is 3 picofarad. C2 is 2 picofarad, and again C1 will be replaced by 3. So after taking out the LCM, we'll have this, and after solving it, we'll have C is equals to 6 upon 7 picofarad. Now this C is in parallel combination with C2. We have calculated the net capacitance of these three. Now the equivalent capacitance of these three, it is in parallel combination with C2. Okay, so now we know this thing, for parallel combination, simply we have to add. So this is what C double dash. So it will be 2 plus 6 upon 7. We know this thing in parallel combination. What is the equivalent capacitance? It is simply C1 plus C2. Okay, so 2 plus 6 upon 7, when we will solve it, and so finally what we'll have, 20 upon 7 picofarad. Now we know this thing. Let me show you. So we have calculated the equivalent capacitance of these four capacitor. Now that equivalent capacitance of these four capacitor and C1, they are in series combination. And again, we know this thing, for series combination, what we have to do? We have to apply this. So the net capacitance, that is 1 upon C net, is equals to 1 upon C1 plus 1 upon C dash or double dash plus 1 upon C1. Now we have already calculated the value of this, so it will be replaced by 7 upon 20. Actually we got 20 upon 7, but here we have to write what? Reciprocal. So it will be 7 upon 20. What is C1? 3 picofarad. What is again C1? 3 picofarad. So after taking out the LCM and after solving it, what we will have? 61 upon 60. So the reciprocal of it will give us what? The net capacitance, and it will be how much? 60 upon 61 picofarad. So this is how we can calculate the net capacitance for these type of combination, by applying separately the formula for series combination and the formula for parallel combination. So I hope this question is clear. Next question we have, prove that the energy stored per unit volume. So they are talking about the energy of a capacitor, and per unit volume is given by 1 upon 2 epsilon naught E square, where E is the electric field of the capacitor. So we need to prove this. The energy of the capacitor per unit volume should come equals to how much? Half epsilon naught E square. Okay, so how we will start it? We are talking about parallel plate capacitor, and for parallel plate capacitor we know this thing. What is C? C is epsilon naught A upon D. Okay, so and electric field between the two plates, this we already know. It is given by E is equals to sigma upon epsilon naught, where what is sigma? It is surface charge density. Now what we have to calculate, what we have to prove? Energy stored per unit volume. So how we can write it? Energy stored upon volume. Now we know this thing, we know the how much is the energy of the capacitor. We have derived it. It is Q square upon 2C. So in place of energy stored, what we will simply write? Q square upon 2C, and in place of volume we can write A into D. This we also know. Now pay attention. Okay. In place of Q, if sigma is the surface charge density, so in place of Q, what we can write? Sigma into A. So simply in place of Q, we have written sigma into A ka whole square. In place of C, we have written A epsilon naught upon D, which is the expression for the capacitance for a parallel plate capacitor, and AD we have written as it is, no change. Okay, then we will simplify it. So I think this is clear. Now one more thing is there. Just pay attention. What is E? E is sigma upon epsilon naught. So please pay attention. So in place of sigma upon epsilon naught, what is written? E square. Okay, so we have multiplied and divided by epsilon naught just to make it a square. So in place of sigma upon epsilon naught, it is written E. So finally what we'll have, half E square epsilon naught ka square A square D upon A square epsilon naught upon D into D, sorry. So I think this step is clear to everyone. Okay, just sigma upon epsilon naught is replaced by E. So we have multiplied and divided by epsilon naught. That's it, nothing else we have done. Now this A square D will get cancelled from this numerator and denominator, and this 1 epsilon naught will get cancelled by 1 epsilon naught. So finally what we will have, half epsilon naught E square. So this is what energy stored per unit volume, and that only they just want us to prove. So I think this question is also clear. Next question is, keeping the voltage of the charging source constant. Now here V is constant. Okay, what would be the percentage change in the energy stored in a parallel plate capacitor if the distance between the plate is reduced by 10%? Okay, now V is constant, D is decreased by 10%. So what will be the impact on the energy stored in a parallel plate capacitor if we do this? Okay, I think this is clear. Now we know this thing. What is the energy of the capacitor? It is half CV square. Okay, now for parallel plate capacitor, we know the expression for C. It is how much? It is epsilon naught A upon D. So simply in place of C, what we have written, epsilon naught A upon D. This is clear. Now, what is written in the equation? If the separation between its place is reduced by 10%. So initially, if suppose D was the distance between the plate, reduced by 10% means what? Minus 10%. Okay, so minus 10% of D, and if we will solve it, so finally what we will have, 0.9D. So I think this is clear. So what will be the new distance between the two plates? That is D dash, and it is how much? 0.9D. Okay. Okay, so now what will be the new energy? If the distance is 0.9D, energy will also change. So energy will be U dash is equals to half CV square only we are using. And what is C? Epsilon naught A upon D. But this time we'll use what? 0.9D. And V will remain as it is because it is given in the equation. This is the condition that voltage is constant. So that only we have done. Now what will be the change in energy? Initially energy was U. Now the energy is U dash. So how much will be the change in energy? Simply U dash minus U. Okay, so in place of U dash we have substituted this, in place of U we have substituted that which we have seen in the previous slide. So from these two it is very clear that this is common. A epsilon naught V square upon 2D. This is epsilon naught, this is not E0. Please make it very clear, this is epsilon naught. So now we know this thing, and this will come in bracket. 1 upon 0.9 from this and minus 1 from that particular equation. So now this could be replaced by, what is this? Half CV square only. And what is half CV square? It is U. So in place of this, what we have written, U. And when we will solve it, so finally we'll have this 0.1 upon 0.9. So when we'll solve it, when we'll remove the decimal, so what will have U upon 9. So what is the change in energy? It is 1/9 of the original energy. This is how energy will change. We have to calculate the percentage change. Now we know this thing, how to calculate percentage change. It is the new energy, or I should say the change in energy upon original energy into 100%. So what is U dash minus U? U by 9. 1 upon U is written as it is, into 100% we have written as it is. So this U and U will get cancelled. So finally 100 upon 9 will give you how much? 11.1%. So this is the percentage in the percentage change in the energy of the capacitor if the distance is reduced by 10%. So I think this is clear to everyone. Next question is, two identical plate metallic spheres A and B are kept parallel to each other in air, separated by distance 1 centimeter as shown in the figure. So you can see this is a metallic sphere surface A, this is another metallic surface B, and the distance between them is how much? 1 centimeter. Surface A is given a positive potential of 10 volt and this surface of B is earth. It means it is earth, no charges there. Fine. Okay. So now what is the question that what is the magnitude and direction of uniform electric field between Y and Z, between this point Y and this point Z, and if the distance between them is how much. So the thing is that we know this thing, they are talking about electric field between these 2 points. Now we know this thing, E is equals to dV upon dr. Electric field is negative gradient of potential. Now we know this thing, what is the potential difference between them? It is 10 volt. What is the distance between them? 1 centimeter. If you will convert in meter, it will have 10 to the power minus 2 meter value. Okay, so when 10 to the power minus 2 meter will go in numerator, so finally what will have? 1000 volt per meter. So this is the electric field between these 2 points. What is the second part of the question? What is the work done in moving a charge of 20 microcoulomb from point X to Y? Now we know this thing, this is what a metallic surface. It is a conductor, and on a conductor potential is same. There is no potential difference, and if there is no potential difference between these 2 points X and Y, how much will be the work? The work done will be 0. So the thing is that what it is written over here, since surface A is an equipotential surface, therefore potential difference is 0, and if potential difference is 0, no work is done in moving a charge from one point to another. So I think this question is clear. This part is clear, so that's why what it is written over here, work done from X to Y is 0. Now what is the next question? We have not read the next question, next part of this question. Can we have non-zero electric potential in the space where electric field strength is 0? It means what? Is it necessary that if electric field is 0, potential will also be 0? So that is the question. Okay, so how we can answer it? Again with the same relation, we know this thing, E is equals to minus dV upon dr, and according to the question they are saying E is equals to 0. So in place of E we will substitute what? 0. It means dV upon dr is equals to 0. dV upon dr is equals to 0 means what? dV is equals to 0. And if the differentiation of V is 0, it means what? V is constant. And if V is constant, it means what? V is non-zero. So what we can say that yes, we can have non-zero electric potential where electric field is 0. So even if the electric field is 0, we can have a constant value or we can have a non-zero value for electric potential. So I think this is clear. Next question is a regular hexagon of side 10 centimeter. So this is the hexagon. The measurement of the side is given 10 centimeter and has a charge 5 microcoulomb at each of its vertices. So at each of its vertices, how much charge is placed? 5 microcoulomb. Calculate the potential at the center of the hexagon. Again, a very easy question. So I think diagram is clear. So microcoulomb charge means what? 10 to the power minus 6. So that only it is written over here. 5 into 10 to the power minus 6. All these sides are equal and it is how much? 10 centimeter, and the distance of each vertex from the center, it will also be 10 centimeter. Fine. Now at this center we have to calculate what? The potential due to all the other charges. So now we know this thing, how we can calculate it. Since 6 charges are there, so simply we have to multiply 6 by its expression we know q upon 4 pi epsilon naught d, where d is the distance of the center from each vertex where the charge is placed. So in place of d, what we will write? 10 centimeter. 10 centimeter we will convert into what? Meter. So in place of 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught, we will write 9 into 10 to the power 9. 6 as it is we have written. The value of charge is given 5 microcoulomb. So 5 into 10 to the power minus 6. In place of d we will write 0.1, which we have converted into meter. So when we will solve it, what will be the value of V? V will be equal to 2.7 into 10 to the power 6 volt. So I think this question is clear. Okay. Next we have a spherical conductor of radius 12 centimeter has a charge this much, distributed uniformly on its surface. What is the electric field inside the sphere? Okay, so 12 centimeter is the radius of that spherical conductor, which we will convert into meters. So it will be how much? 12 by 100, that is 0.12 meter. The charge is given this much. Now first part is inside the sphere. Now we know this thing. Inside the conductor, electric field is 0. So what is the answer? The answer will be 0. That electric field inside a sphere will be 0. Just outside the sphere. Just outside the sphere means what? The distance is how much? It is equals to the radius of the sphere, that is 0.12 meter. So we know the formula for E. E is q upon 4 pi epsilon naught r square. The value of q they have given in question. 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught, we know 9 into 10 to the power 9. R is how much? 0.12 meter. So when we will substitute the values, we can easily find out what is the value of the electric field just outside the sphere. So that only they did. So I think this is clear. So when we will solve it, finally what we'll have? 10 to the power 5 Newton per coulomb. So electric field just outside the sphere is how much? 10 to the power 5 Newton per coulomb. Now the third part of the equation is how much electric field will be there at a point 18 centimeter from the center of the sphere. So this 18 centimeter we will convert into meter. So we will divide it by 100, 0.18 meter. Again the same formula we will use, Q upon 4 pi epsilon naught d square. Q, the value of Q will be same, 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught is constant, that is 9 into 10 to the power 9. Simply the value of D will change. So in place of D we have written this 18 into 10 to the power minus 2. So when we will solve it, we'll have this value. So this is the electric field at distance 18 centimeter from the center of the sphere. So I think this is clear. Next question is, 3 capacitors, each of capacitance 9 picofarad, are connected in series. So they are talking about series combination, and they have given the value of each capacitor. The capacitance of each capacitor is how much? 9 picofarad. Pico is 10 to the power minus 12. What is the total capacitance of the combination, which is very easy to calculate? We know this thing, how to calculate the equivalent capacitance for a series combination. It is 1 upon C is equals to 1 upon C1 plus 1 upon C2 plus 1 upon C3. Okay, so let's do that first. So that only they have written. 1 second. So for series combination, 1 upon C dash is equals to 1 upon C plus 1 upon C plus 1 upon C. Now here this 1 upon 9 is extra. Only 3 times we have to write. So when we will solve it, when we will take the LCM, so finally what we'll have? We'll have 3 upon 9. Okay, and 3 upon 9 will gives you what? 1 upon 3. And reciprocal of 1 upon 3 will gives you what? 3 microfarad. So there is some mistake. Please ignore it. So the total capacitance of the combination will be 3 microfarad. Okay, now what is the second part of the equation? Let me see. The second part of the equation is, what is the potential difference across each capacitor if the combination is connected to a 120 volt supply? Now we have to calculate the potential difference across each capacitor, and it will be different. We know this thing. So how it will be divided? Now we know this thing. The potential difference across each capacitor will be 1/3 of the supply voltage, because it will be divided into 3 parts. So, and as 3 capacitors are there, so it will be divided by 3. So it will be how much? 120 by 3, and 120 by 3 will gives you what? 40 volt. So the potential difference across each capacitor will be how much? It will be 40 volt. So I think this is clear. Now next question we have. In next question they are talking about parallel combination. Before this we have talked about series combination. So here they are talking about 3 capacitors whose capacitances are 2 picofarad, 3 picofarad and 4 picofarad, and they are connected in parallel. So what will be the total capacitance? Now it is very easy for us to calculate. So we know this thing for parallel combination. We write the total capacitance is given by, 1 second. Total capacitance will be given by C1 plus C2 plus C3. So 2 plus 3 plus 4, that is 9 picofarad will be the answer. So simply the total capacitance of the combination will be 9 picofarad. So I think this is clear. Now what is the second part of the equation? Determine the charge on each capacitor if the combination is connected to a 100 volt supply. Okay, so what is the voltage? 100 volt supply. Now we know this thing in parallel combination. Voltage will be same for each capacitor because they are connected in parallel. Okay, so what will change? Charge on each capacitor will change. So that only we have to calculate. Now we know this thing. What is Q? Q is V into C, where Q is charge, V is potential, and C is capacitance. Okay, so first we'll talk about the first capacitor. So for that capacitor, what is the value of C? It is 2 picofarad. So what will be the charge? Charge is equals to V into C. What is V? 100. And what is the charge? 2 picofarad. So 2 into 100 will gives you what? 200 picofarad. In place of P, we will write 10 to the power minus 12. So finally what we will have? 2 into 10 to the power minus 10 coulomb. Similarly, we will calculate the charge for the second capacitor, whose capacitance is how much? 3 picofarad. So again, we will use the same formula. Charge is equals to V into C. In place of V, we will write 100. In place of C, we will write 3. So it will be 300 picofarad. In place of P, if you will substitute 10 to the power minus 12. So finally what will have 3 into 10 to the power minus 10 coulomb. Similarly for the last capacitor, whose capacitance is how much? 4 picofarad. So again charge is equals to V into C. Again V will be replaced by 100. C will be replaced by 4. And when we will solve it, so it will be 400 picofarad. So it will be 4 into 10 to the power minus 10 coulomb. So I think this is clear, which was an easy question.